corresponded to my ancestors in the universe were causing a reflection of itself, which is the reason that I'm here. So I would like to ask the oldest person in here to raise his hand.
Yeah, you got to see. Sometimes you older than me.
No, also, before I begin, the oldest member in this room, would you please allow me to speak? Please.
Yes.
Now I want the youngest person to raise his hand, which I saw him earlier, but I think he left. No. Would you allow me to serve you, young man? Thank you. Thank you. I've heard a lot. I want to thank the speakers that came before me for providing that inspiration, because as leadership, sometimes we forget to honor those who inspire us. I'm truly humbled to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Past Grandmaster Dogs, I see your work, I hear your work, and I feel you. Not too long ago, a couple years ago, I was in Little Rock with Grandmaster Jones, and he touched on that tessellated border that surrounds that floor. And he talked about how that tessellated border was the membership and how we envelop each other to get through life. And I'm very humbled to be around this tessellated border here. Now, before I go on with my lecture, I want us to give a hand clap to our moderator. You've been doing a wonderful job. Okay, so I'm gonna start off. In my lecture, there's gonna be a couple of moments. I've been speaking for a long time, so I know, especially being the last one, how sometimes we may fall asleep. So I'm going to inject a couple of commercials of inspiration through my lecture. So before I begin, hit them one time with a commercial.
No one can make you feel inferior without your consent.
Okay. Now, I'm going to start off my lecture with a story, right? It's called The Story of the Truth and the Lie, who are they're really twins, but I'm going to call them distant cousins, all right? The truth and the lie went down to the beach, decided it was too hot, let me jump in the beach. Took all their clothes off, jumped in the water, right? After a period of time, the lie said, the truth having fun, so let me steal his clothes. Put on the truth clothes, went to the mall, went shopping. After a while, truth got out the water and said, where my clothes at, right? He asked around, where my clothes at? Everybody knew it was the truth. He knew the lie was at the mall, went to the mall, he confronted the truth, the lie, and said, man, give my damn clothes back, right? Took his clothes and left. Now guess what that left the lie? Left that lie exposed. And the only way you can expose that lie is you have to get butt naked with the truth. That's the only way.
Wow.
That's one of the stories that made me want to touch on this subject, because I didn't want to get extra Masonic, because we're surrounded by a lot of Masonic lecturers and Masonic wisdom. I want to touch on something that, as leaders, we really don't address, which is the mental health of our membership, the mental health of our leaders, the importance of improving on our emotional intelligence. Because as leaders, sometimes we forget, as I said earlier, those who inspire us. In forgetting those who inspire us, we forget to give praise when praise is due. We think we're too big, as Grandmaster Jones said, to say, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. We're afraid to give another brother a compliment when he is dressed good. Wow. The only reason I aspire to dress well when I'm in front of membership is because of the people that came before me and the people that continue to be in front of me. I have to be this way because the membership requires that type of leadership. I'm going to start on my lecture with something that I read, which is very, very important. We have to stop trying to be so positive. Wow. Let's stop being so positive. Let's focus on teaching our membership how to handle adversity. We can preach positive all day long, but what you're doing, you're injecting an unrealistic reality. Because our life's limits get thrown at us 1,000 miles a day. Grandmasters, you know, leaders, you know, it's not a perfect world. Let's teach our members how to handle those limits. versus telling them, take those lemons and make lemonade. Because that ain't reality. That ain't the case all the time. Because we as humans, we're flawed and limited. Therefore, we make many mistakes. In making those mistakes, depending on the severity of it, it determines what type of consequence you're going to get after that mistake. This philosopher called Alan Watts said, the desire of a more positive experience in itself is a negative experience. And paradoxically, the acceptance of one's negative experience is in itself a positive experience. And what he was trying to say is, you have to know what your limitations are. You have to know you're flawed. Like you said, you have to know when you're imperfect. You have to address, you have to embrace that. The message to the theme here is total recovery, but first we have to identify the sickness that's causing you to want to recover from in the first place.
Look out now, come on.
What is that sickness? Okay. We have to identify the sickness. The truest form, the truest source of empowerment is embracing those limitations. You have to truly embrace yourself in its entirety. I see a couple people see, so hit them one more time.
Don't raise your voice, improve your argument.
You have to truly embrace yourself in its entirety. That means knowing everything about you, knowing that you're not perfect, knowing you're not going to be the best leader, knowing sometimes you're going to have a bad day. Embrace that. You have to identify the sickness. Then you can recover from it, right? In order to find that true inspiration of that which we seek, especially when we say we're knocking on the door expecting for it to be open, it's something coming from the other side. But you have to identify what is that door within you. Because you put it there. What is that door? If you don't know what type of door it is, how you know what key is going to fit in to open it up?
Wow.
If you're not aspiring to open it up, all you're doing is seeking. You're knocking on the door expecting something in return. But what are you offering to get in? So, if you don't try to do that, in our brains, we have this quirk. Our brains are quirky in the first place because we have the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. I don't want to get into all that because I think Brother Muhammad and Brother J. Jones and Grandmaster handled, and the other speakers handled the Masonic portion, so I'm not going to get into all that. But I want to get into our brains, right, which are very, very quirky. There's a quirk in our brain that if we let it, it would drive us crazy. So I want to talk about a couple of things that may sound familiar to you. Any one of us ever been anxious about confronting somebody? Because I have. Nervous? Nerves are good. As every grandmaster that came in here before, any leader has came in before, anybody is asked to speak in front of somebody, trust me, they're nervous. But that nervousness is what's driving them, because you know what? They embraced that what is affecting them. And they overcame it. They overcame the adversity in order to provide that source of inspiration for everybody. So let me talk about this loop and being anxious. That anxiousness is going to start to affect you. And you're going to start wondering why you're so anxious. Now, you're anxious about being anxious, which causes more anxiety. So at this stage, how are you effective as a leader? And you causing this pain unto yourself because you don't want to address the fact that you're weak at coming in front of people, or you're weak in confronting someone. But you think because I gave you a title, now you got all the answers. No, you don't.
Wow. Amen. Look out.
You think just because, I'm going to talk about the Blue Jay in a minute. You think because you have a lot of degrees, you got all the answers. No, you don't. You're actually getting further from that original state as a Freemason, like you talked about, than that EA that's coming in. You don't even know who you are. You don't even know what Freemasons mean. The term Freemason came from an ancient Kemetic term of Frey and Ma. Frey meaning child, Ma meaning of the sun. So what they're really trying to tell you is you're a child of light.
That's right. Come on.
You don't even know that. because now you're this leader. Now you're a Grand Master. So, teach your members not to get caught up in the charisma of a person that's leading them. Because once that charisma is gone, your membership is gone.
Yeah. Amen.
Forget about the charisma. Teach them what truly, truly matters, knowing yourself. And I'm not talking about the whole black power thing, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about knowing who you are, knowing what you're strong at, knowing what you're weak at, so you can overcome that weakness. Another thing that may sound familiar, I'm talking specifically to the Grand Masters on this one. As Grand Masters and leaders who've been around for a while, or who speaks to their membership a lot, we become real angry at the most smallest and pettiest things. The most small and pettiest things. I know that for a fact. We may not tell you we're angry at it, but when we, as Grand Masters, when we do something stupid, it pisses us off all the time, right? And the fact that it pisses us off so easily, it starts to piss us off even more. Excuse my language. It starts to make us angry even more.
Yeah.
Right? So in our petty Grandmaster rage, as I like to call it, we start realizing that being angry all the time has made us a very shallow and mean person. And because we hate that this happened, and we hate it so much, we get angry at ourselves for allowing it to happen. Right? But look at what has happened now. You're angry at yourself for getting angry about being angry. How are you effective as a leader? How? Well, we're teaching our people when we come in, chalk on the clay, wait with patience. We're teaching them all these things, but as leaders, we forget that we're supposed to be the most inspiring students in there. Yeah. We're supposed to be the most humble servant. When you become a Grand Master, you become a servant of the people.
That's right.
Amen. Yes, yes.
I don't even like telling people I'm a Grand Master when I first meet them.
Yeah.
I don't get caught up in that. Because it's easily, absolute power corrupts absolute. And I didn't make that up.
Wow.
Those words was given to me a long time ago. We forget about that when we become leaders. Like you said, we have to go back to being an EA. Go back to in that ante room when we was nervous. Because in that nervousness, all of us here are Master Masons. That means at some point, we got the courage to say, I don't care what's on the other side of the door. I'm going to do it. Ain't nobody going to stop.
Yeah, right.
We need to have that same type of effort, that same type of work ethic to totally recover from that which affect us. Hit them one more time, please.
If you want to achieve greatness, stop asking for permission.
I like that. Yeah.
I like that.
Grand Masters, we also have to ensure that we assess the situation properly. I was in the airport and a young man said to me, and I was talking with him, that spoke to a lot of e-commerce businesses. He said, one of the things he realized as he was establishing himself, you mad at the bike when you know you needed a rocket ship. You know you need to fly to the moon, but you went and bought a bike. And now you're mad at the bike because they can't give you that which you saw. So we have to put the proper people in place.
Yeah.
All right. Who cares? I'd rather have a lodge full of enemies than a lodge full of homies. Because our homies get lazy. And at least the enemies have showed you they have some type of fire. So what we have to do as leaders is redirect that intent. We have to put them through total recovery.
Yeah, now say that.
Right? I don't want to speak long, but I'm going to leave you with this. Lastly, if I can find it. Mental health is very important in our lives. All of us know what's going on in society. All of us should know. Even if someone doesn't tell you, they're looking at you. They're watching you. Past Grandmaster Jarvis talked about the fact that our numbers are dwindling. There's a reason for that. Not because they're getting old. It's because you promised them something and you didn't give it to them. When you bring them in, go